What's going on, Trash Cans? Welcome back to Trash Pumpkin Trading Cards. And today for Trash Pick Thursdays, we're actually going to be going back in time to our video where we talked about tag teams, and we're going to reassess the tag teams that we selected in that video to kind of see where that market trend has pushed thus far, because all of the tag teams have exploded over the last couple months. Don't forget, if you guys are new here, to like, comment, and subscribe. What we want to see in the comment block is, what is your favorite tag team, and from what set is it in? Hey, what's going on, everybody? So we are back on the TCG player, and we looked back at our video date, and we published the last video on June 12th of 2025. And so what we're going to be looking at is the Pokemon tag team, specifically the English version, product type cards. And we're going to go high to low. And this is going to highlight the overall price in comparison to our June 12th video. And so what we're going to look at is, how has the market trended in the last almost 2 months? So the original video that we did, the lowest listing English was a heavy played Lovebirds at $999. And now we have Chinese light play at $525. And our cheapest heavy played card is $1,200. So we saw a $300 increase in the market price of this card over that 2 month span. The next one that we looked at was the Gengar and Mimikyu. So the market price for this was like $400 in the last video. But you have Pack Fresh Chinese at $244, and then your moderately played is $664, versus the Gengar and Mimikyu full art market was $309 for your light play. And so we're looking at, a market price somewhere in that range. Now, if you're not familiar with TCG player, again, when you see this price, this is not for English, because if somebody lists a card that's foreign underneath, it does affect the overall market price. But if you go to your sales or you're up for sale, your lowest price moderately played English is $664 with shipping included. And if you wanted to see like more market data, you can see here. So you have a damaged hollow foil that sold for $299, and then a moderately played on $719 for $497. So as this card has been trending up and to the right, as people are starting to buy the card up, and that's increasing that overall market value. But again, we saw a $300 increase between our June 12th video and our recent video today. And then the next one that we looked at was the full art one. So that was the alternate art. This is the full art Gengar. And again, like, you have a simplified Chinese version at $59. In comparison, when you look at your English version, you have heavy played at $209. What does heavy play look like? Front doesn't look bad at all. I would say that that's heavy play. A lot of whiting on the back, but I mean, still, for the card overall price, we've seen that increase in market value. This was $150 in our last video. So again, that tag team market is starting to rise, and also with the new release of the next Mega Evolution set, you're going to start seeing these cards continue to skyrocket. So the next card we're looking at is the Mewtwo promo. Again, we are just recapping all of the cards that we looked at last video, just to kind of reevaluate where that market trend has been going in regards to overall value. So this card, multiple people on our Discord picked this up for like $40, and this was back in May 5th through May 7th. And now we're looking at multiple cards sold. Now, again, market price for this for the English is in the 200 range. And so when we looked at the last video, it was $220 was your near mint listing on TCG player. And we have Chinese near mint $178. Near mint $215 from an unregistered seller. Near mint $240 from an unregistered seller. So $242. So we saw a $22 increase over the last 2 months for this card, and it's still trending up and to the right, especially because the graded cost, if it comes back in a 10, is very, very expensive. And I mean a PSA 10 or Beckett Black Label, that's where your value is going to be at. The next card we looked at was the Umbreon and Darkrai GX SM241. So this had a market price of $100, and now we're at a most recent sale of $130. So this saw a $30 increase. And when you look at listings, we'll just do this the easy way. Chinese near mint is 125. So yeah, the cheapest one listed from a registered seller is 131.48, which is a nice $31 increase. Then we looked at the Charizard and Braixen. This is an absolute sick card, super undervalued in my opinion. But again, most recent sale was $69.99. When we made that video, your Charizard and Braixen was at $37. And when we're looking at conditioning near mint, your lowest near mint listing is $80.99 with a market price of $113.80. So we've seen an absolute explosion in the overall values since May or even June when we made this original video. Then we looked at the Espeon and Deoxys, and that is this one. So when we looked at this one, Espeon and Deoxys had a dip in the market. We were looking at a trend in the dip that was at like $78. Let's go here. So this is where we did that video at. Essentially, it was like the $78 dip, and now we're up to 82. So not the biggest market increase in overall, and you even have some listings at the $74. So this might be a card to pick up in the undervalued category of good grabs, because you have this from a registered seller. So in theory, this should be a near mint card, which means that it should be a PSA 7 or better. Of course, you want the PSA 10, but there's that. The next one we looked at was the Glass Birds or the Zapdos. So when we looked at this, the market price was 70, and then we saw a massive uptick where this was selling on the realm of like 90, over $100 here. And we saw that downtrend. It bottomed out here about 80, and then we're back up to like 87. So near mint from an unregistered seller, 86, 87.53. So that saw a $15 to $20 increase over the last 2 months. Overall, not that bad. And then the next one we looked at was the Pikachu and Zekrom GX. So this is the Sun and Moon promo. Again, this one was on a massive dip when we did this, where your market price was like $80, but now we're looking at a market price of 187 and a Chinese near mint at like 128. So $200 is the lowest like near mint listing in English. So that saw a massive jump in overall price. Again, this was super undervalued and was like masked by bigger cards, which makes sense. And then we had the Sun and Moon Pikachu and Zekrom full art. So this one also near mint. Yeah, so this one was about $80 as well. This is at $108. So that saw a 20-something increase. Apparently not. So the lowest listing, so realistically, the lowest listing right now is $230. So this actually saw a bigger jump than the GX promo that we just looked at, the Sun and Moon promo. Let's see what the base one is at. I think it's on the next page. Pikachu and Zekrom. This is the base conditioning near mint. So this was $36. The base was $25. So this one isn't that bad. This one saw just a $12 increase. And then the other big card that we looked at in this set is actually the Magikarp and Wailord. So that's the GX. I think is it sold out? Because when things get sold out on TCG Play, they just don't list them. Or am I missing it? Doo-da. That's the... Is it the right one? Make sure I get the right one. We'll look it up real quick. Magikarp and Wailord. That's the one we're talking about. So this was a $400 card. It's not a $500 card. Just put that in perspective. So this gained $100 since our last video. Again, that video came out on June 12th. So if you took anything from that video and picked any of these cards up, you literally increased either double the value. You went from anywhere from like a $15 price jump to a $150 price jump, depending on what you decide to pick up. So again, this is just a recap, like highlighting the tag team market and how aggressive it's being bought up, and how there's still some tag teams that aren't highly sought after at this very moment. So getting them, especially in really good condition to grade a PSA 10, is definitely going to be something to grab. And like this Togepi and Cleffa, for example, this was $71 on June 3rd, and now we're at $87. But again, if you go to near mint, You're looking at a $260 card. So, and that's raw, not even graded. And again, absolutely pick up beautiful cards. This is just a recap highlighting how aggressive the tag team market has come. Like I announced this yesterday during our live stream, this was something that I wanted to do. As a vendor, absolute liquid cards to pick up, great investments, especially in really good condition. You have to always make sure that they're not fake, but again, great investments overall. And I was just highlighting and recapping what we had originally brought out. And if you're not aware, this promo graded is now over $900. So if you have this thing in your collection and it's PSA 10 worthy, you should definitely send it in. But to put this in a perspective, you have near mints selling at $93. And in June, we're looking at $89. So, you know, we saw almost a $12 increase there for the raw, but the graded price has exploded exponentially. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for checking out our recap on the current tag team market. It's been just under 2 months since we made that video. Exactly, I believe, 13 days since we made that video would be 2 months. And all the cards we highlighted in that have increased in value even more. So again, if you haven't looked through your collection yet, please do and find that value. Great cards. Don't forget that if you do take them to a vendor, that you get your appropriate price. So please check your current sales on your TCG player and or eBay. And I hope this was as informative for you as it was for me. Thank you so much for checking out Trash Pumpkin Trading Cards. We'll see you guys live this weekend. We got 2 shows coming in for you. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your favorite tag team card from the era. Deuces, y'all.